Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I am Kyra Mitchell Lewis, and thank you for joining. In a troubled time, powerful ideas still pierce the darkness. I read this in a quote from a fastcompany.com article on creativity and coronavirus. It's no secret that we've probably had the pleasure of witnessing some of the best creative content this year during the pandemic. Our favorite shows are being brought to us via Zoom. Networks like HGTV have been flipping the script and their hosts serving as advisors to homeowners while they actually do the work to their homes. New talent being discovered that we may have never known and given opportunities that they may not have ever had if it not have been for our current state. Fashion shows being brought to us using 3D technology, and of course, basketball in the bubble. Those are just a few of the ways creatives have shifted and adapted to bring us entertainment in a new way. And all these things are serving as an opportunity that could reignite a spark in creatives and the way ideas are brought to you in the future. I read something that said that being creative helps you become a better problem solver in all areas of your life and work, and that creativity helps you see differently and better deal with uncertainty. Studies show that creative people are better able to live with uncertainty because they can adapt their thinking to allow for the flow of the unknown. And I would definitely say that there's truth in that statement just from what we've witnessed over the last 6 months. My guest today is no stranger to creative thinking, and she will join me to talk about how she is leaving her creative magic in both the music and film industry. So sit back and relax, and we'll be right back.
Looking to add a little sparkle to your wardrobe? Or do you just need some new eye candy to jazz up that next Zoom call? Well, look no further. Perfect Match Jewelry offers amazing nickel and lead-free necklaces, earrings, bracelets, rings, and more, all for $5. That's right, $5. View and shop their selection at perfectmatchjewelry.com and learn about special promotions and new releases by following them on Facebook and Instagram. Happy shopping! Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. I am Kyra Mitchell Lewis. I am so thrilled to welcome Maya Table to the podcast today. Welcome, Maya.
Hello. Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
Thank you for joining. Well, Maya is a multi-talented and fabulous person. She is the owner of Sam Frank Productions. She is a producer, director, and a digital strategist. Her production credits include producing music videos for the likes of Janelle Monáe, Usher, Migos, Travis Scott, Summer Walker, and Tiana Taylor, to name a few. Her directing credits include content for Google, Self Magazine, Lululemon, and Head & Shoulders. And most recently, she's added film director to her title, having directed the short film Dating App, which was featured by Issa Rae, and the short documentary Reclaiming Nappy, featured on Facebook Watch and at Facebook's 2019 Sundance Festival panel. My goodness, this girl is accomplished, and I'm so proud of her. Welcome, Maya, again to the show.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be on here.
I am
excited to hear from you. I'm excited that it's not video because I didn't have to do my hair.
Now, we all know that you could have pulled it together really quickly because you've got that natural beauty, so it would have all come together really quickly, girl.
I could have done a little razzle dazzle.
And look, I would have been over here like, Maya, wait, I need 20 minutes, girl. Let me get that Corona wig. Oh my God, I've definitely been living that Corona wig life,
yes.
and 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 with working virtually, I like post workout, I take a shower and just throw my hair into a ponytail and throw on basically some more sweats, right?
Yeah, exactly. Some clean sweats. Mine is like clean pajamas. All right, like which set of pajamas today? What kind of look am I going for?
Right. I know my husband was like, "Why do you still have so many clothes?" I'm like, "Dude, because I work out twice a day and then I need to have an outfit on to put on after I work out for the rest of the day at work." And he was just like,
My
"Wow,
chill
that's
workout outfit. Okay.
exactly." I know. My Stitch Fix stylist is like, "Okay, so I'm going to look at your quarantine board." I was like, "There you go."
There you go. There you go. Yeah.
Well, we'll go ahead and jump in, but Maya, definitely want to start with you, just talking about yourself and your journey.
Oh, where do I start? So I went to school at Georgia State University, and my major was film and video. But I always tell people you don't need to go to school for film. But when I was there, I interned with everybody I could. So I interned with the radio station, I interned with BET, and just, film sets here and there, mainly just kind of nailing down on what I really wanted to do. And then while I was also in school, I used to dance for the dance team there. And I had a dance agency. I was like, oh, we should do a dance agency. And, I could start helping to book dancers. And then so I graduated, and maybe a month after I graduated, my first job actually was Sierra and I decided that we wanted to do a dance agency. And she was just coming off the song Like a Boy and Super Pop. And so me and her did our thing for like 2 years, just me and her just doing the dance agency. So that was fun. And then we stopped, and I concentrated more on film, and she concentrated more on her singing career. And then from then, it's just been, connecting with different directors to produce their projects. And it was mainly giving me a chance to build my eye and my strength as a director. And producing for other people definitely helped for that. And within that time, I worked for a few different places, because one thing about being freelance is that you don't have that that polish sometimes. So I really wanted to be able to, direct commercials and films and just do a number of things, but I needed to be able to see how can I pivot my style so that it can work for everybody. Right. So I was doing digital strategy for Trey Songz and Jeezy, just freelance, just like, oh, we want to do it? Sure. It just kind of happened randomly. So then I started working for a digital agency after that. And that helped me really get strong with the digital content and strategy. And then after that, I went to a company called Kids 2, where I met you, the fabulous There it was cool because I saw an opportunity to be able to, build out the video department, which I usually end up doing for a lot of companies, or I'll build out their departments. And so one thing, I love that at Kids 2, I was able to really, just kind of diversify my portfolio and just learn how to present presentations, present ideas, in a manner for everyone to understand. Because one thing about sometimes, everybody is not a creative, so that's what it helped me notice. So just being able to say, okay, let me create something where anybody that sees it can understand it and be excited. So it really helped in that aspect. On the other aspect, it just reinforced for me that just, the difference between corporate life and freelance. And that I think just freelance just works for me, because I just, corporate life, people really see you as, your title, and that's it. But just as a freelancer working for corporate companies, you're able to, they see you as so much more. And the hours work better, just as a creative, doing the same thing over and over, didn't really work for me. So after 2 years of there, I took the leap. And what was cool about doing the leap from Kids 2 is that so many people that used to work at Kids 2 end up being my clients that same year that I quit. So it ended up being a win-win situation.
Right.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned something too, Maya, as far as when you're inside of a company and you work for a company versus being a freelancer on
Yeah,
the outside of a company, how there's also that level of value or trust. I
yeah,
think sometimes that corporate companies seem to have with a person outside of the company, but you have a lot of times the same level of talent inside, so I definitely agree with you there, because you get more like freedom and more reign to
yeah.
like more rope almost when you're the freelancer coming in versus the employee.
Right, because as a freelancer, like I'm meeting with the company's CEOs and head of marketing and just all the top people immediately. Because it's like it's like when somebody comes to your home and you want to show it off to people, like so that is usually the difference. And then you get a bit more leadway and they trust you a bit more. So I mean, it definitely has its ups and downs. Corporate life, you have consistent money. Freelance, it's like you are continuing to work to make sure that you have multiple streams of income. So
Right.
every side has some good things about it and some not so fun parts. But since leaving Kids 2, I've been I don't know, I think that was almost 7 years ago, or maybe 5. But since I left, then I've been just back producing, and even as of lately doing more directing, which has been making me so much happier than producing. Um, and it's been going pretty good. Last year I took a bigger leap of faith because with producing, it's like being a wedding planner and the bride is a director. I always kind of give people that analogy, so it helps see why producers are always stressed out. But I just really wasn't as happy as I used to be, mainly because that wasn't my main calling. It was more of a directing creative thing. And then also I was producing so much, but I also wasn't, saving as much as I needed to. And I felt like I was just kind of going project to project, and I really wanted to just put a stop to that. So last year I was like, if I'm going to do it, I need to just do it now. So I moved back in with my parents, which was, in itself just a little stressful because I'm used to just peace and quiet. But now I'm home with 2 very active retired people. It's like I am the parent now, I swear. I call them like queenager and a teenager and a
Oh
kid.
my gosh, that's funny.
So just having to like adjust to that was a thing. I was like, whoa, I didn't realize how much I love peace and quiet.
Right.
But just kind of it's definitely been a blessing to be able to say, you know what, now that I don't have rent, I don't have to say yes to these jobs as a producer. I can really concentrate on my directing career. So last year actually was really slow, just career wise, but I was able to, do that film for Issa Rae and just to do more portfolio projects because even though I produce a lot, people still need to see a director's portfolio. So last year I concentrated on that. And I even was a nanny. My sister's friend
Really?
had kids, a 3-year-old and a 6-year-old. And she was like, you want a nanny? I was like, sure. Because at that point I didn't have a job, didn't have a whole bunch of income. And I just wanted to show the Lord that, listen, I'm here. I'm for real about this thing. Just, whatever you want me to do, I'm there. And so that was last year. And then top of this year is when I got the job directing a commercial with 3 commercials for Head and Shoulders, and I also got the job directing commercials for Google, and it's been really popping ever since then. Even through quarantine, I've been working more in quarantine, 3 times more than I did last year. So
Wow.
I'm always telling people, that's my little testimony. I'm like, you have to just take that full leap and not care about, what, I had to move back with my parents, but guess what, that's also a blessing to be able to do that and just not being fearful of, because nobody's going to put you in that position. Like, you have to do it. Nobody's going to say, you know what, here's just all these director projects, so it's just putting in the work, and it's really been paying off. For me. I'm really excited about it. It's been like, wow, it's been really
That's great. I mean, definitely, just like you said, I mean, the sacrifice, because you could have said, oh yeah, I want to continue to live on my own. But you were willing to say, you know what, I'm going to go home. I'm going to save some money. And also you were just able to actually focus, which I think that's amazing. And look what, you planted a seed and look at it now.
Yes.
So You hear that, everyone? But I do like what you said though about like no one's gonna hand you anything on, like it's not gonna just come on a platter with, hey, now here's what you said you wanted to do, so we're serving it up for you. I
Yeah.
mean, I think I live that like every day.
Yeah.
Every day of my life where I'm like thinking about, when I get to the weekends, like, having I have a full I'm like my full-time job is like my side job, because this is where, doing this and Glow Up Girl is like truly what I see as a purpose and passion, for me. But it's like, yeah, I get to the weekends and I'm still working on Saturday. I'm still working on Sundays. And, while yes, there are other I would like to just be lying on the sofa, like taking a nap or catching up on my shows. But I'm like, I have to put in the work now. And I know it'll pay off if I'm willing to make sacrifices on my side.
Yeah, for sure. And that'll, and about sacrifices too, one thing I learned, and I'm learning more and more this year, is like deciding what those sacrifices are. Because sometimes it's like, I got to work all night, 24 hours, and that's sacrifice. It's like, but are you working smarter and not harder? So
right.
Helping to, just redefine that too. And, what that looks like for me and for other people, because, a good part of being creative is having that rest. And I always tell people time to daydream. So if it's like you're taking all these creative projects and you actually aren't doing what you wanted to do, because now you got those deadlines approaching and just you aren't being as creative as you can be, or defining like, what does my career look like? What projects will I say yes to, and what will I say no to, and what that balance is. So I think that's another part too of figuring out, okay, what's that balance? And am I just working because it seems like the grind of it, and am I not charging enough? That's another part too of just figuring out that full balance of it, and what projects can you take on and which ones really don't matter too much. So
right. Mm-hmm. So when you took the leap of faith, one of them, because it seems like you definitely mitigate risk and you you leap.
I'm trying to be better at that actually now. I'm like, you know what, Maya, because I am I'm just more like, yeah, just do it now. Let's just do it now. I'm trying to get better.
Look, I know what you're saying. I'm in my own way. Because I feel like in my work professional life, I have to always think about the risk. And, and when you have something that's your own, you're able to maybe just say, you know what, I'm going to throw that at the wall and just see if it sticks, if it slides or whatever. If it doesn't, then you could always try again. But obviously when you left your corporate job, you were, like you said, you had money coming into your pockets on the schedule. Mm-hmm. Were you, what was that like? Were you nervous? Were you afraid? Like, what did you feel when you finally said, you know what, I'm done?
I was more excited than anything. Like I was talking to a financial planner maybe 3 to 4 months before I quit. And because I told her I wanted to, so she was helping me to see what that looked like. But I definitely quit before we had planned. So when I told her, she was like, well, okay, well, all right. But because I value happiness and peace of mind over so much, which I think what makes me a bit, risky. And I've been trying to work on that balance. But, I just really felt like just the mental health part for me was more important, and not being frustrated, not feeling like my ideas and things were being stifled. So when I did quit, it was just like, you know what, I'm happy. So that, I will figure everything else out. The money part comes and goes. So, I think I just figured out, and it helped that other people had already left the company at the time and were ready to hire me as a freelancer. Mm-hmm. So that definitely helped. But I think the happiness part just meant the world to me.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I think that so many people, stay in jobs or stay places, and they're not really, hopefully, I hope with, everything that's happening this year and everything that we're living through, that people are reevaluating, what's important. And your mental wellness and happiness it's got to be like 1 and 2.
It does. It sure does. Mm-hmm.
Like you can make all the money in the world, but if you despise the people, despise the job, and you hate waking, even if, there are people waking up in quarantine, working from home, which I will tell you, I love. It's like the best blessing I've ever I've gotten, or that I could have gotten, because I'm so much more productive. But there are literally people still getting up and working from home, and they still hate like what their existence and what they're doing every day.
Yeah, it is, and I think that for me is always like the driving factor. Like even when we are on set, I work really hard to mainly hire people who work at a very high level, but also have a good attitude. And I always hear from people like, "Wow, your set was so fun," or "It's just a different vibe." I'm like, it is, because that, it was a conscious decision to hire certain people. Because I always feel like, oh, it is storming so hard outside.
Exactly. I've been sitting here looking out the window, just going, God, please let my lights stay on and my Wi-Fi.
I was like, if Wi-Fi cuts out, we know why. But oh my gosh, it's so crazy. But I always, feel like, especially when we're on set, is that, and just the jobs we do, they're so cool. Like I'm really blessed to be able to work on the projects that I work on. But I never want to take that for granted. So when people are like grumpy on set, I usually don't hire them again, because I'm just like, there is literally thousands of people who want to do what we're doing. And so why have a job if you're going to be grumpy? Like you need to do something else. If you are grumpy every time you go to work, you need to find something else to do, because this life is about, happiness and peace of mind. It's not just about just working and being grumpy. So for me, that's always like a big driving force.
Right. It's like your film, Reclaiming Nappy. Reclaim your happy, please.
Reclaim your happy. I love that. You reclaim your happy. Okay.
Yes, please.
Because if not, you make the rest of us grumpy too. Just like, we need to innovate.
Exactly. And you will not be hired again on a Maya Table set if you're grumpy.
You're not, and I tell people why, because I'm really big on paying it forward, and I'll, tell them even, hey, I'm not going to hire you again. This is why, because it's been so many times that I wasn't hired when I was like a PA, and I didn't know why. So I think it's so important for people to learn, and they still appreciate it, and like, or maybe in a few years I can rehire you, but at this moment I'm not, and this is why. Just now, like even today, I have to call a director because sometimes I'll commission for music labels, which means they'll hire me to be just the supervisor of the video shoot. So I'll help them, hire the director, hire the producer, and really just kind of like a producing consultant on projects. So one director they chose, and I was happy because I've been wanting her to get more jobs. And then so I just got a call from the label that they don't want to work with her anymore. And I was like, what happened? And they said, well, because we had a call last week with the director and the artist. And the artist just felt like the director's voice was so dry and she wasn't really excited about her project. So she was like, if the director isn't excited, then I don't want to, work with her. So now I have to call the director today and say, yeah, it's not going to work out.
Yeah.
And when she did talk, she's just pretty, some people are just more dry sounding. So she didn't sound that excited, but that's also something I had to learn, which was, because I can be dry sounding on calls. So I either had to say, hey guys, like sometimes I would say, I'm so excited, y'all. My voice sounds dry, but I'm really so excited. It makes you laugh. It makes them like, okay, boom, but you want to keep that energy and keep people excited. If I am, I'll let them hear it in my voice, because that's a part of it too. And also not just taking, as a freelancer, you can't take jobs for granted as a freelancer, because you could get hired and fired so fast. It happens so quickly. So that's one part of it, is just like that job security is like everything you do, making sure that the client knows that you're excited. So I think for her, this is going to be a lesson when I give her a call about just, that excitement that you need to make sure that it's felt, because that is a real thing. Certain things that people that you don't know until it happens, and it's like, oh, that's this freelance lifestyle.
Yeah. But it's definitely, it's great though that you are willing to make it a teachable moment versus just saying like, nope, you didn't get the job. They don't want to work with you again. But you're pouring into this young lady by giving her some feedback and coaching her for the next time.
Yeah, because especially for people of color, because a lot of times when I'm on sets, unless I specifically hire people of color, it's not a lot of us on set, and it's sometimes because we don't get the opportunities because nobody told us little things like, oh, you didn't get the job because your reel looked like this or your portfolio looked like this, or hey, next time just do this one thing. So for me, it's always important. I've always been like this for years and years of just like, let's tell each other, because no, people really don't do that. I find it so interesting, and like, why don't we want to see us more in places? And yeah, me too, and you know, black people in places, but people don't do the work of actually helping to do that. So that's why for me, I'm just like, well, did you tell that person why you didn't hire them? Nope. Okay, well, how are you helping to move this forward? So
yes. No, what you said is just what you said. I could just like, I'm going to clap for you because that is so important. I mean, I recently just did the last episode, well, 2 episodes ago, was really focusing on just that support. Now, it was coming from a place of, you know, women supporting women, and, you know, we've got the anthems, we got the notebooks, we got the social media posts, but it's like, what are you really doing to support people? And,
yes.
you know, do your actions really support your words?
Right.
And are you showing up? And I just think that's so important. And I think just even having this time, you know, this year for me, it's just become like so key to like, you know, repost things for my friends that are doing things, because like you said, a lot of times, you know, people of color, women, small brands, you know, we don't get that, we don't get noticed like easily. And most times people are running businesses that they're supporting from their own pocket. So they may not have the money to constantly promote posts and promote things to be put up there. So I've been really, really like, that's just been like so on my heart, you know, for other people. I'm like, yeah, but what are you doing? Are you supporting that person? Are you telling your friends? Like, it's not one thing for you just to buy, you know, oh, my friend does this, so I bought that one thing, but it's like, did you tell 5 other people?
Right, exactly.
So
did you tag? Did you?
Yes, I'm right there. Like writing reviews. Are we writing reviews for our friend, you know, the people we know, the people in our network? So I am right there with you, girl, on that.
Yeah, I love it. Just, you know, and I think sometimes it is kind of tiring. Like I used to, for the past 10 years, I had, you know, mentees and interns that, you know, every week I'm just teaching them. And last year when I decided to finally concentrate on directing, I stopped because I really do like teach people. So you end up taking on that responsibility, because if you're teaching, they're going to mess up on jobs. So you're picking up their slack. And so last year I stopped, you know, bringing on people, but instead I've, you know, always, people DM me and have questions, but I also started doing, you know, consultations. So people can go on my website now and I started this during quarantine. If they have a question, and a lot of times people do, they'll just need one question answered about, how do I do this on the shoot? Well, how do I produce this? And so people call me and we'll just talk, and I give them, you know, some advice about, you know, whatever production, or sometimes it's digital strategy. And then I also started teaching online classes during quarantine. So the classes that really do the best are directing. I have a producing class and I have a digital strategy class. And the directing and producing classes are 3 hours a piece. And it's really cool because it's a Zoom call, and, you know, I'm able to just really teach people. Sometimes it's people who want to be directors. Sometimes it's people who are already directing and just want to know, like, how can I move from music videos to commercials? So really within those calls is, you know, showing them, telling them like knowledge that people don't ever tell you, like these film terms, when you hear these, this is what these mean. And, you know, these are the different types of directors, and this is the different types of producers. And this is how, you know, your presentation should look, which is something I just had to learn. People didn't tell me. So just really taking those opportunities to say, if you want to learn, then I got, even just in a way that's understandable, you know, so that and relatable too. So,
I think that's great. I mean, you're still able to do what you love, which you seem to really like being able to pour into other people and give them the information, you know, that they need, and maybe that you didn't always get as you were coming up. It seems like, I mean, you're scrappy. I always felt like Maya's scrappy, and she figures things out. I mean, I can remember you like when we were at Kids too, like you would be on a set all night, and then you would show up in the morning at work all time, and you would work and get your job done. And you would either, you might be shooting or editing or, building out the story. But then also, your lunch breaks, I remember you sitting in the pods in the corner, like editing, working on your. I was like, she is over there. She's gonna be somebody.
She's gonna be somebody. Yep. I used to my lunch break. I was sure working my.
You be tucked away in the break room, in that little break area.
Yep. Exactly. It's so funny that like I never thought of myself as scrappy, but you're the third person that said that. This director that I work with, named Lacey Duke. When she describes me to people, she describes me as scrappy. I'm like, I guess so.
Yes, it's a good thing. I mean, it means like we know you figure it out. You figure out a way to get it done. You don't take no. Like even just from our time together at Kids too, like you were always trying to find a better way.
Yes,
and you weren't, and then you also thinking outside of the box, which at the time, we were, making baby product videos, and I mean they thought they had a formula, but you literally had a different vision for how it could be better.
Right. Yeah.
So that alone was just pretty awesome to to see.
Thank you. And I think sometimes when corporate companies, you get frustrated, and I mean with any company, you have to say, you know what, maybe my ideas are not matching theirs, instead of just trying to like plunge forward and just be frustrated and make it happen. It's like, okay, let me just release it and just move to somewhere else and take my talent to a different place, because they
okay, LeBron.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay, LeBron.
Well, I mean, since we're here, let's just go ahead. So, guys, I will tell you, Maya, aka LeBron James, but she also was at one point Angela Bassett's character from Waiting to Exhale. When she left the building, I felt like Maya flicked that cigarette and just blew up the entire car. Oh, and she didn't even know this. Like, she was not even aware that she had left this impact. Or, no, what I should say, this damage.
I had no idea. I was just like, I thought I was just being honest, and I was like, I'm being honest in a nice professional way, and being a little bit motivational. I didn't think I was doing that. I was like, okay.
Let's just say, guys, that when Maya left, Maya left the building, the exit of an employee meant that your email was already turned off. And you could not send any emails. It's like, this person's gone now. and I think, to your point, Maya, it's just one of those things where your email was just giving it wasn't harsh or mean. You were just you were thinking and giving some honest feedback for how things could be better. And sometimes some companies are not as open to I guess you would say, the constructive feedback.
Yes, they were not open to constructive feedback. Constructive is what it sounds like. And I was also like, I knew that they shut off emails and things quickly. And so since I was leaving faster than I thought, I was like, let me do it now, because sit it out. And I'm like, I didn't think it was so bad, but it's more just like, well, since I'm leaving anyway, okay, listen to your employees. We matter.
Exactly. But you went down in history that day, and people still were talking about the email from Maya.
I was trying to use my words. I'm like, how can I sound very professional? And so.
Oh my gosh. Thank you for letting me take you down that down memory lane, because I was like, oh my God, if I don't, I have to talk to her about this, because this was one of the funniest moments. I mean, we had a lot of them there, but that was really funny. So, Maya, what are some of your favorite projects that you've produced or directed?
Ooh. Some of my favorite projects are, so I was the post-production producer on the Travis Scott Sicko Mode video. And that's one of my favorites because it just opened up my eyes to a new level of visual effects. And that visual effects and post-production is an area that I've always, been a part of as an editor. But just being around other artists, I was just like, whoa, so that one was amazing because it was just stepped my game all the way up. Another project is definitely Janelle Monáe's project, because that was another, like, projects that always after where I feel like, wow, I've definitely grown just from that one project. Are the ones I love the most. It may be stressful when we're filming, but after I'm like, yeah, I'm really happy I did that. So Janelle Monáe's Make Me Feel was one of them. And then other, I would say, would be probably all of my short films, because they are all stuff that all had a tiny budget, and it just really helped to, like, a lot of the cinematographers that work with me on those shorts either work for free or for half their rate, and it just built a bond between me and them. So now all my projects that I work with those two, because it's like you kind of have a chance to build with people when you don't have a budget and get your vibe and your chemistry. So when you do work together, you already have a trust. So those are probably my favorite ones, because those, I still see the payoff of those projects.
Right. And speaking of your films, let's talk about Dating App and Reclaiming Nappy.
Ooh.
Yes. I mean, come on, girl. It's like acclaimed.
Yes, acclaimed it. So Reclaiming Nappy, I knew I just needed to do some type of film, because I took a workshop as a producer, and she was saying, for people that want to direct, you need to direct something. I'm like, oh, you're so right. So I needed to do something to show that I was a director. And so I really was just doing the low-hanging fruit. I'm like, well, hair is something that I really know about, black hair, and my friends didn't know about. And at the time, my friend and I had an Instagram page and blog called The Cut Life. And we had 1.1 million followers at that time. Now it's up to like 1.4 million followers. But we would post, questions from hairstylists or from our audience to give to hairstylists. So one of the questions that we had, somebody said, well, what's the best hair products for my coarse nappy hair? And all I did was copy and paste that onto our Instagram page. And our comments, people were so heated. Why would y'all use the word nappy? Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, whoa, whoa, whoa. First, I just copied and pasted. This is not my question. This came from an audience member. So that really is what sparked it. I was like, well, that's something, because, films are great when they can solve a problem or dig deeper into the issue. So I was like, well, let me do it on the word nappy. And also there are not a lot of, happy pieces of art out there about our hair, especially when it comes to movies. So I want to do something that, it just felt so heavy when I would Google stuff about kinky hair, nappy hair. So I'm like, at least I want to put something out there that shows that we are happy about who we are, even if we wear it straight or whatever. So that was that piece. And then I procrastinated on the edit of it because it just, I didn't have time, because I needed to recoup money from filming it for free, and putting all my money into it. So it took about a year. And as soon as I got done, a friend of mine said, hey, some people at Facebook are looking for female directors that have done films. And I was like, oh my God, well, I literally just finished a film. So Facebook had me and 5 other directors do like a one-day workshop with them, where they kind of give us their tools about marketing our films. And then, which was awesome. I was like, oh, that was great. And then 2 months later, Facebook said, well, hey, we're going to Sundance and we want to play your film. Do we have permission? And I was like, heck yeah. So, so they told me like on a Friday that they're going to air it on like a Tuesday. So I flew myself out there. I'm like, let me just even if they aren't showing the full film, let me just make this a moment. Because that is I'm like, they could have shown any other film, but they're showing mine. Like, that's a big deal.
Yes.
So, and so doing that film, sometimes we'll do one project and we feel like, oh, okay, now y'all gonna hire me for all your projects. I just, I went to Sundance. It's like, oh, no, okay. So that was cool. Just to say, for people to say, okay, you're directing, cool. But I knew I needed to do another film to, one, let people say that I'm for real about directing, and people want to see more of your work so they can become your fan. So dating app was another something for my experience because I needed to show that I could write narrative and direct narrative, mainly direct it, but to direct it, I needed to write it.
Right.
So that was based off of my experience of breaking up with my boyfriend of 4 years. And after we broke up, I got on Tinder and Bumble and all that stuff. So this film is based on that experience. So it's a short comedy film. And once I got done with the filming and editing of that, the film festivals that I wanted to submit it to, they were all not accepting any submissions at the time. So I would have to wait until maybe 3 more months. But I saw that Issa Rae was looking for films year round. So I submitted it to them and they replied maybe within that week. And so they played it last year as the May short film of the month. And that really gave me the boost that I needed. And I've done a few more, maybe 2 more films since then that I haven't released yet. But that really helped me to, move forward more as a director. So, I'm always telling people to get it's like you have to give to get. And, some parts say, give me the money, I can do it. It's like, well, people need to see your eye, your voice. Because it's, continued process of them trusting you with their money, basically. And you have to just show, okay, what perspective do you have? So those really did help me to say, okay, here's my voice. Obviously, my voice is, I love, people of color, specifically Black people, have always been my muse, like my family and my friends, like my series on my Uncle Poochie, the guy that Uncle Poochie dressed.
Yes, love it.
Whole life. And he's always dressed like that whole life, dressed like a pimp, but he's a vegan. So, and so just like, people just needed to see my unique voice no matter what scenario it is, whether it's, hair or dating or my uncle. And so all those are portfolio pieces. Because even with the series that I did on my uncle, and I'm still doing the series, it's just he comes over often, so I just film him when he's over. But someone at Harper's Bazaar saw the series that I did on him, and they end up hiring me for a piece for Self Magazine. So I directed something for Self Magazine just last month.
Oh, wow. That is awesome. But see, Maya, that is everything that you're saying. I hope everybody out there listening that has dreams or aspirations of walking a path similar to Maya, like you are taking these nuggets, because I think a lot of times people just see the glamour of like what you do, and they miss all the work and everything that you've put into getting to where you are today. I'm just sitting here, just like you're giving me like renewed, like you're actually just sort of validating like all the work and stuff that I've been doing, on my own venture. Just like I'm like, wow, this is so great, because it does pay off. It does pay off. So this is, I thank you. This is great.
Those the calls I tell you I have with creators and stuff. Normally when I'm talking to them, I always say this to them and say this to you too, is that if I'm telling you something that's just hitting with your spirit, then this is your moment. This is your God moment, because it's like if somebody that didn't know anything about what you got going on, and I said something that resonated with you, then that's your confirmations for wherever you were thinking about. And that's really what those calls are. Like, I don't know those people, and we'll talk, and they're like, dang, I was thinking that. I was like, well, this is your confirmation to do it, So sometimes we do need those confirmations, especially as freelancers. Like, am I going in the right direction? Am I doing the right thing? So,
yes, yeah.
I
received that. I was thinking about that after like this afternoon when I was like finishing my workout, and just, thinking about being like an entrepreneur and wanting something of your own. It's like, it's not to say like I enjoy I like the work that I do every day, but when you just have this like burning on the inside, like you can't just be okay doing the 9 to 5, 9 to 6, whatever, the standard like everyday job. And it's like, no matter how many times I tried to tell myself like, oh no, girl, you get that, you get that check, and you be happy. It's just like I can't just, I've never been able to just be okay. It's like my mind, is always racing with ideas, and I just always have like a mile a minute. I'm like, right, notebooks with ideas and things. So it's always nice to talk to people who have that same like burning like fire on the inside.
Yeah. And it kind of, it's like exciting and encouraging because we all have those moments that are just like, am I doing the right thing? Am I being silly here? Because taking that leap of faith sometimes on anything is nerve wracking and it's different and it hasn't been done. But, especially when you see other people that have done it, especially like I always go back to Issa Rae a lot of times when she did her series Awkward Black Girl. The production value was so low on that. And it was not, the production value was not good, but she was funny. So I always tell people, like, sometimes we kind of are perfectionists when we do our own stuff and we want to look this way. And it's just like, we could just put it out, So I think that's the biggest thing as a creative. Yes. I'm sure you're like that too, which is just like, has to be perfect. I'm like, nobody's going to notice what you think isn't perfect. So, it's like wrestling with ourselves and, just that reassurance. But I think the more we do it, and I always tell people too, is that you have to, it's like that line by Erykah Badu, I'm an artist, I'm sensitive about my shit. It's like you have to try to take some of that sensitivity out and creating more. Like I'm sure when you get to your 50th podcast, you'll be like, you know what, I'm not editing out those bloopers, or I'm not, whatever it is. You just get more comfortable in your skin, and like with me producing or directing like more content and putting more stuff out, I'm not sensitive. I really wasn't sensitive in the first place, because even if people comment something bad, I'm like, oh, I can learn from that. I think it's all learning, and I like that they took the time to do it. I'm like, you took the time. I just feel so honored that people even cared to.
Exactly. Yes.
And then I love seeing like some of my work strikes people differently. So that's been cool to see, like what my, whether it's like, say their names. I did a piece on the women that have passed away from, police brutality. And it's cool. It's interesting to see just like what the heavy pieces do, what the ones that aren't heavy do. And, so I love just seeing how people feel and what the courts are struck with people. So I'm like, I just see it off content. My thing is just, just brown people and just different lights and showing that we can be so much. But I think I'm continuing to define what my lane is as a director. But I think it's just showing people of color in different lights and that are still honorable. Like my piece on Damien, the guy with cerebral palsy that wants to be a model, or or my Uncle Poochie, or the guy I just did, Saucy Santana, who is a guy who dresses like a woman all the time, or pieces on Black women and our hair and different struggles and happiness that we have. So that's kind of just mainly my thing of just showing us that we have so much to us, and this for me is just natural. Like it's not something I'm thinking hard about. I'm like, that's just naturally who I, the leaders in my community and home have always been people of color. Like the smartest people in the room have always been like my family members and people. So for me, I'm just like, it's natural. I'm not even trying to.
Right. No, I think it's so needed in the world. And I like what you said. You like to show basically our diversity, and that we have multi sides to us. We're not just one person that, because we may be of similar skin tone, but even there, there's such an array of skin tones, amongst people of color and Black people. So no, I think that what you're doing is phenomenal. Telling our stories, and the way you tell them, and just like you said, you've got everything from something that is something that might hit a very strong emotional chord, to just showing that we're funny.
Yeah.
and just showing, our joy, like Black girl and Black boy joy is just pretty awesome. So Maya, what would you say, what is I wouldn't say, I hate to phrase it in terms of like your biggest failure, but what is something that you failed at on your journey and that you learned from?
I would say, because like you said, I always it's no failures. It's always just everything is learning.
Mm-hmm.
My biggest thing I would say with communication, like as a introvert or wasn't. I'm not sure if I was ever a real introvert. I would say as a quiet person, I kind of didn't realize how important communicating was about everything, and not doing it in a blunt way, but just even down to like if you have a client deadline that you set, just speaking about that, or if you are about to send something to someone, just communicating about everything. You communicate about money first, which is something I've learned years ago to do first with crew members and people that you want to hire. Is first conversation talk about money, because that just really relieves the tension, because that's always the tension, the money part. Talk about that first, and then you can do the creative. So my thing I would say is communication, even down to because sometimes we'll set these deadlines like, oh yeah, I'm so excited about this project, I'll get it to you tomorrow. Now you're stressed. It's just like, you could have told them Friday. They didn't need it tomorrow. You said tomorrow. So just getting better with just, and I've gotten to a point now where I'm a lot better, but I wish that's something I would have known younger, even if it's something good or bad or whatever, but communication, not just professionally, but with friends and family too, just learning how to say, let me take a minute to apologize or say how I really felt, whatever that was. But just a communication piece I'm continuing to work on.
Okay. So what are 5 things that we may not know about Maya Table?
Well, one is thunder.
One, she doesn't like thunder and lightning.
One, I wanted to be a plastic surgeon or a dermatologist. That's really like my heart of hearts. So I'm squeamish to blood, but that, like, even last year I was just like, what if since I'm just not working, what if I'll like just work in a laser surgeon's office? Oh, that sounds good. Like that really made me really happy, and I had to say, yeah, probably wouldn't get paid that much, so that's the only reason I look more into it. But that is actually what I really want to do. But blood makes me faint.
Oh my goodness.
What's something else? I still I hate scary movies.
Oh my gosh. Oh, I love them.
My dad and I are scaredy cats. I mispronounce most things. So usually I have somebody else read it out loud, because I'll just butcher it. Even names, like that's something else my dad and I have in common. Like he'll say the Home Depot, or I remember one time he was like, when the movie Selma came out, he was like, everybody go see the movie Salem. I'm like, it's all good, I got you. But him and my mom are like two of the most intelligent people that I've ever met. Not my parents, but just that part of him is so funny, and I have it too. I'm just like, I think it's because we'll see a word and we just say what we want. So
right. Don't worry, I live with a person. My husband does that all the time. I'm like, no, but it's written right there. So why did you say that? He's like, oh, because that's what I saw, and that's what it is.
It is. And when we don't take a moment to like and I keep saying I need to take if I would have taken 30 seconds, 10 seconds to say, wait. So I've been working on like, stop, don't say it, think about it, and then say it.
Well, look, I give you kudos for at least working on it. He will. He's like, no, that's what I saw. I'm like, okay.
Like this, I'm working on this film pilot, and the art director's name Yolanda. I hadn't met her in person yet. Yesterday, the director was like, and then her name is Yolanda, not Yvette. I was like, what? He was like, yeah, in your emails you keep saying Yvette or any name that starts with a Y. I was like, oh my gosh, I didn't even notice that. So it's like,
oh my God, that is hilarious. Because I would be like, now who is Yvette?
Girl, you mean Yasmin? Yeah, so down here, yes. But this is changing that Y. But
every time she's like a different Y. Bless you. Look, bless you. At least you have put that forward, and people will know that, so they won't just think you're like, because you gotta think about it, Maya. You are a director.
I really didn't remember numbers, like all my friends and family. I know their numbers by heart.
Really?
So it's interesting that the words are bad, but the numbers, I can like look at a number and I got it. Just looking at it once or twice. Where am I? Am I on number 4?
Okay, so it looks like I got booted from my own podcast. So I'm back now. So we're gonna pick up, Maya, where we left off. So you said that you're really good at remembering numbers.
Yes. So like friends and family, especially, I know all their numbers by heart. That's, another thing. And I'm like, well, I sound crazy when I say this. I want whatever. But like guys that I like, sometimes when I feel like I like them too much and they aren't putting back in the effort, you know how you'll delete their number. So now I don't delete numbers anymore, because when they call me, I'll see the number and now I've remembered it. So for them, I'll just change the name. I just did that to somebody 2 days ago. Actually, I'm like, let me change their name. So I'm not gonna look at the number, because then I'm gonna remember it. Next thing you know, I'm gonna be calling, and I said I wasn't gonna call. So I just changed the name to Fall Back, because that's a reminder to me. Just fall back.
I like that. That's a good idea. You got that, ladies? That's a good idea. Don't delete the number. Just change the name.
Yes.
Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
So what am I on? I have 2 more, or I have 1 more?
I think you have 1 more.
Okay. The other thing is that I am allergic to most things, which I just found out last year, which are all peanuts, chicken, and peanuts chicken.
Wow.
But I just take a Zyrtec because I just found out that stuff, and citrus stuff. So citrus, I've known about. Peanuts, I just found out about peanuts, almonds, cashews, all this stuff. But I'm just like, So now I just eat less of them, and also take Zyrtecs more often. But I found that out last year when, I told you I moved back with my parents, and, just my stress level it just got really high. I didn't know I was stressed, but my body was, just from being in a different environment. So I ended up finding out I had plaque eczema. So I got plaques all over my skin, and I was like, what is happening?
Oh, wow.
After we thought I got misdiagnosed, and then after about 2 weeks, the doctor was like, oh no, this is eczema. And she gave me like a cortisone shot, and it went away the next day. So that just helped me to see like, oh, okay, that was the stress from just, I didn't even know I had stress triggers of that. And that's when I realized, like, oh, I'm used to being in a quiet environment. Now it's just more.
Right. Yeah.
Just, and then probably also internally stressing out about, oh, Lord, I'm back home with my parents. What am I doing? It's like a mental breakdown. So that has helped me say, okay, I can't do that. So it helps me even now how I think about stuff is like, okay, let me see what I can take on. And my younger sister reminds me too. She'll say like, so are you really going to stay up that late? Because, next thing you know, you're going to get sick. I'm like, you're so right. So it helps me to like prioritize myself, mainly because she's the person that will have to check on me to make sure I'm okay and not having like, skin outbreaks. Cause that's a real thing.
Yes. We definitely don't want you over there messing up your glow. So.
I know. Exactly. So.
Keep it together, Maya. Okay.
Keep it
so. All right, so tell me, I have one other question. What have you read or listened to lately that has inspired you?
There's always so many things that inspire me. What's the last thing that I read that was like super inspiring? I haven't finished it quite yet, but a few months ago I started this series that what is his name? Michael Todd, I believe his name, Pastor Michael Todd, was doing about the Faith series, and it's like he was doing, I think it was 8 videos. I think it's 8 videos in that series, maybe it's 12, but I just always feel like so energized and refueled when I've been listening to that. So usually I would like listen to it twice, to listen to the same episode twice. The first time you hear something, you hear it, but it's not registered. So I would listen to each one twice. And I think that just kind of helps me get out all my feels of, whatever's going on that day, and just say, it is going to be all right. And do you really have the faith that you say you do? So
yes,
that's been super helpful for me to have to listen to.
It definitely comes back to that. But it's nice that the creative has a way to, it's still inspired
Yes.
by
Mhm.
other things or other people. So
Yeah,
that's
everybody
definitely
tell
good.
me things, but like everybody to me is inspiring me. Like, from people on Instagram to yours, just like, because sometimes it's like a color that's inspiring, or maybe it's something that someone said. So it just, I try to, just stay open. But sometimes I'll see something that somebody did, and like, oh, let me keep that thought in my mind to pair it with another vision that I have.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So yeah,
I like it.
mhm.
So, well, if you can, tell us about a few projects or things that you might be working on now that we have to look forward to.
Ooh. Well, of course, the piece for Self Magazine is actually on psoriasis. So I was like, oh my gosh, I know this area. So it was cool to
Oh,
have something
yeah.
familiar with. What else? There is. I just did a music video for this singer named Rach, Raiche. And we did some videos this past weekend. They look so beautiful. I need to start the edit on them. And I'm excited about those because, she kind of really let me, really lean more into my style, which is kind of like a little trippy and, camera tricks. So I'm really,
Mm-hmm.
really excited about that actually, because I'm just trying to define my style more and more. And I've always wanted to do some of the concepts that I put in her treatment. And when she said okay to it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is awesome. So those are the two that I'm excited about.
Awesome. I love that. And then lastly, please tell our listeners where they can find you online.
Yay! You can find me at mayatable.com, MAYATABLE.com. And all social media is Maya Table.
Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
She is fabulous. I'm telling you, all the things we've talked about today, guys, go out and watch her films, watch her videos, because she has done some amazing work. And I'm so super, super proud of you and glad that I can call you my friend.
Yay, thank you too. I had to call you my friend as well. And this is so amazing. I love this platform and just the name Glow Up Girl and your episodes. It's super inspiring, and I love that you're putting that positive energy out into the world.
Thank you, girl. Well, guys, we will be right back. Thank you again, Maya.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Welcome back to the Glow Up Girl podcast. Thank you again to Maya for joining us today. You can check out both of her short films on her website, mayatable.com. Also, you can find us at glowupgirl.com. And you can also drop me an email at hello@glowupgirl.com. So send me any comments, feedback, any ideas, anything you want to hear on the show. Also, follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. And be sure to join our Facebook group. It's Glow Up Girl, so that's easy enough to find. Join and invite your friends to join, and you'll always hear our new news first. And before I go, as always, I'd like to leave you with a little glowspiration. Today's quote comes from Mary Lou Cook. Creativity is experimenting, growing, taking risks, breaking rules, making mistakes, and having fun. Until next time, stay focused, fab, and glow up. Take care, everybody.